The following is an interview between His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the Associated Press, recorded July 16, 1976, in New York.
Many people say that members of the International Krishna Consciousness Society are being cut off from work in the world, and therefore their contributions to the world being lost to the world. And I wondered how you felt about that.
Yes, but misunderstood.
That is true?
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
The difficulty is they do not understand on which platform we are working.
How would you describe that platform?
Yeah, that's like you or me or anyone. This living condition is one platform. And when I or you are dead, there is another platform. So generally, people are working on the bodily concept of platform.
What kind of concept?
Bodily.
Oh, by walking on the yeah.
And we are working on the spiritual platform. Just like, what is the distinction between a dead man and a living man? There is some distinction.
Right.
So, those who are working on the bodily platform, they are working on the dead platform.
Does that involve a majority of the people, or
anyone? It is a little difficult try to understand that this body, so long the living force is there, the body is important. Do you follow it or not?
No,
this body is important how long? So long the life is there.
Sure. What I'm trying to get at is you say that...
You'll understand, just try to understand me, that this body is important so long life is there.
Right. Right, I agree with that.
So, this body minus life, what is the value?
None whatever.
This body minus life, what is the value?
He said none. None, no value.
No value. So, we are working on that platform where the life is there.
Yeah.
And people in general, they are working on the platform of this body.
On the platform of, on the dead platform, you say people in general...
The body is dead. Body is dead, just like your heart. It is dead, always. Either on your body or on the hanging on the hanger.
Your shirt.
Your shirt and coat.
Yeah.
Is it not?
My shirt and coat are dead.
Dead, is it not dead?
Right.
Similarly,
but my body is not dead.
The body is not, because the living force is there.
Right.
So,
but people in general, you say, are walking on the dead platform in live bodies?
Working. Yeah.
Working. Working on the dead platform in live bodies. Yeah.
Dead. You don't talk. You don't talk.
No.
Is that correct?
Prabhupada explained to you previously that those who identify in the bodily concept, because the body itself is dead without the soul, is considered the dead platform. Because the body itself without the soul is dead, whereas we're concentrating on the platform of life, the life within the body, the soul. So that is the platform of life.
Well, is that what makes the people make this distinction between the life you are leading and the life of the world?
We are working in different platforms.
Uh-huh.
We are working on the life platform. And there are people that are working on the dead platform.
And so, in a sense, the movement involves a rejection of the general world activity.
Not rejection.
And separation from it.
Not rejection. Just like your car.
Oh.
Your car is important so long it is moving. But if it does not move, then what is the importance of the car?
Okay.
Motor car.
Not if it's not in use, it's serving no purpose.
Yeah. Similarly, if you simply concentrate on the car without any attention to the car driver, then what is your knowledge?
It takes both.
Huh?
It takes both, the car and the driver.
Yes,
right.
car is important so long it is moving.
Yeah.
And when it is not moving, it has no importance. It is lump of matter. So the car, in both the conditions, while moving and not moving, it is lump of matter.
Well, does that mean that the general world's activities are like a non-moving car, a lump of matter?
Yes.
And that's why the Krishna movement is separate.
Appears to be different.
Appears to be separate from the world. Is that the proper word?
Yes.
How would you put that?
Yes, yes.
How would you put it?
Yes.
We are.
We are also utilizing the car, but our attention is on the life principle, not on the dead metal.
Yes.
Appears to be separated. That's the way you would say it. Well, is it separated?
It is always separated.
It's
It is always separated. That is the driver and the car, they are always separated.
I'm talking about the movement from the secular world.
First understand the analogy. The car and the driver is always separated. The driver is not car, neither the car is the driver.
Well, is the Krishna movement the driver or the
being
car?
Krishna, first of all try to understand the analogy. There is
They
car,
are separate entities.
there is car and there is the driver.
Right.
That car is always different from the driver. And the driver is always different from the car. Is it not?
Absolutely. Car can't drive itself.
So if you take attention of the car and you do not know anything about the driver, then what is your knowledge?
I didn't quite get the
You
question.
pay attention to the car without paying attention to understanding who the driver of the car is. What is the driver and what is the use of your knowledge? In other words, the driver is the living entity or the soul, and the car is this body, the material elements of this material world, including the body. So without understanding who you are, who are the living entity within the body, or the driver within the car, then what is the use of your knowledge of the material elements without understanding who you are?
Well, since this dichotomy appears to be the case, I mean that there is the movement is sort of cut off from the world in general, does that not deprive the world of the service and the usefulness of
But
these,
first of
of
all,
these
if you do
people?
not understand what is the movement, then how you can give your verdict like that? First of all, try to understand what is this movement.
The Hare Krishna movement, the Krishna Consciousness Society.
What is that Krishna movement? That Krishna movement is just like to understand the driver.
The Krishna movement is meant to help people to understand the spiritual knowledge of who they actually are. That is what our movement is dedicated to. We're not dedicated for our own.
What is the purpose of the movement,
The
Grace?
purpose of the movement is to know who is the driver of the car.
To know who is the driver of the car. And who is that?
That is, we are contributing. People are in ignorance about his own identification. Who is he? He is thinking he is dead body. That is misconception.
There is no way to identify the driver of the car, then.
No.
Let's say it is so difficult subject matter. I am speaking to you, still you feel difficulty. It is little difficult subject matter. So you say the car and driver, if you understand this analogy, the car and the driver. So who is important? The driver is important, the car is important. Both combined together, giving a service. The car is moving. But if they are separated, who is important? The car is important or the driver is important?
I don't know how I'm going to get the point you're making there across.
The point is
if the
actually
car
simple.
and the driver are separated, the car is useless, the driver is a person. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
And
The driver
person
is always
important. The driver is important.
Is always important.
Right.
Within the car or without the car.
With or without the car. And if he's a chauffeur driving a carload of people, then he becomes less important. The people are primarily the ones that are important, that are in the car.
First of all, try to understand the car is moving with the help of the driver. So, the driver and the car, they are always different identity. So when the car is dead, the driver do not work with the car. But the driver is important, within the car or without the car.
Whereas the soul is important with this body or without this body. But the body without the soul is simply fertilizer, like you said. It's dead, useless. So our mission is to educate people about the driver, about the soul within the body.
And people are generally working on the body.
People are generally working on the body.
Yes.
And that's what...
And we are working on the driver of the body. That is the difference.
Working on the driver of the body, on the spirit, right?
Yes, on the spirit soul. And because they do not know what is the difference between the soul and the body, they cannot understand what is our contribution.
But because they do not understand the difference in the soul and the body. That's why they don't understand what you are contributing.
We're going to give you a transcript.
Yeah. So do you think that...
we are trying to give enlightenment about the driver of the car. Because the driver of the car is always important, either on the car or without the car. And people in general, they are giving importance on the car only. They have no knowledge of the driver. The car requires petrol and the driver requires nice food. So people in general, when they see that we are not giving petrol to the driver, they are surprised.
When they see that you are not giving a roll to the driver?
Petrol.
Oh, petrol. Oh.
They think that petrol is the food of the driver.
In other words, to satisfy the body does not satisfy the person within the body.
Therefore they misunderstand. Oh, they are not giving petrol to this man for eating. But the man's eatable is not the petrol.
I would like to ask you another question, Your Grace.
You have understood this point.
Okay.
Now, have you understood this point?
You understood the analogy.
Yeah, I accept. I suppose you.
We have to
I suppose
understand.
what you're saying is that the driver is the spirit of man,
Yeah,
and that the car is his physical functioning.
that's all.
That,
So the car requires petrol. Does it mean the driver also requires petrol?
you mean the spirit?
Yeah.
Food? Does the spirit require food?
No, this analogy. The driver's food is different from the
Body food?
power of the motor car. The motor car without petrol cannot work. Similarly, the driver without food cannot work. But the food of the driver and the power of the motor car different.
The needs of the body and the soul are different.
So we are supplying the needs of the soul, and they are supplying the needs of the motor car. Therefore they find difference. They are thinking they are not supplying petrol to this man for eating. That is the difference. They are crying, or they are not giving petrol for eating to the driver.
But actually we're giving all those things as well.
Yeah. Now
giving
we are
both.
supplying everything. Driver's food and the car's power.
Yeah.
But they see that why they are wasting time giving food to the driver.
Well,
They think that petrol is the food of the driver as well as the car. They do not know that the food of the driver is different from the petrol or the car. Try to understand this analogy.
well, I gather what you're driving at is that bodily food is different than
this
mental, than reading, intellectual food, spiritual food, and all kinds of body. We take in all kinds of things, information, ideas.
Yeah.
This is the kind
Not
of
ideas, that is a fact.
This is one.
Fact. But you driver, you must have your food. Otherwise you will die.
I'm looking at you. That's taking in a certain kind of information.
You cannot drive the car without food.
So you have to all kinds of material of information that you have to survive. That's true. Or to get down the sidewalk without running into the buildings, you've got to see the wall.
Common substance is that if a person thinks that he is the car. The driver, if he thinks wrongly that he is the car, then his life is spoiled.
So if someone identifies too closely with the body, then his life is spoiled.
I think if he identifies with the body too much, his life is
Not too much.
at all.
He should know that he is different from the car. That is real knowledge. And if he identifies himself with the car, then he is a fool.
Well, is he supposed to care about and honor the body in the physical world?
That is already taken.
And to see the physical world
Suppose
as
if you are
important?
utilizing this coat, you are taking care of it. But if you think that you are coat, then you are doomed.
So if you use the body, you should take care of it. But if you think that you are the body, then you're doomed. Then it's foolishness. But naturally you take care of the body, but you don't identify with it.
Well, Your Grace, the spiritual quality is an important part of life, of course.
Yes. Otherwise, the animal.
Yeah.
If the man does not understand the value of his spiritual quality, then he is no better than the dog. The dog does not know.
What do you think of Jimmy Carter?
Jimmy Carter is a presidential candidate.
I do not know. What is the Jimmy? I do not know.
He's not.
Yeah.
Neither I.
Not aware of
Not
it.
a care about politics.
Well, isn't that's part of what I'm thinking about, that you and your movement tend to separate people from concern with what's going on in the world. Like that's a presidential election and Jimmy Carter is the Democratic candidate. I mean, this is a disregard for what's going on in the world. Isn't that an example of it?
No, the thing is that there are many presidents. Before, what is the name of this?
Jimmy Carter. He is not president.
Ford is the president.
Ford is. So what improvement you have done by having this president or that president? What improvement you will make? Unless some false promise, that's all. What is the improvement? You have changed so many hundreds and thousands of presidents. But what is the improvement? About spiritual knowledge.
Prabhupada sees everything spiritually.
How's that?
He's seeing everything spiritually. What is the improvement spiritually out of all these presidents? So therefore we do not care.
You do not care what the president is.
No, we take care, but we take care more for the spirit soul than the body. That is our basic principle. So
do you think most of the Hare Krishna members will vote in the election in November?
they are turning.
He's asking if you think that they will vote. Our members will vote.
Will they participate in the election? Or will they register and vote, do you think?
Personally, I never give vote.
Never voted. You're a citizen, however, aren't you? A U.S. citizen?
I am permanent resident,
Permanent resident.
Yeah.
immigrant.
Will they follow your example and not vote?
I do not know, but our principle is that I vote for this man or that man. So, what is spiritual benefit? That is all.
If he was Krishna conscious, then you might vote.
We may vote if we so desire.
If the politician is God conscious, then we will support him.
Vote for this man or that, what spiritual difference would it make? Is that the way you put that?
As long as the candidate is not God conscious, it won't make any difference which way we vote. But if he's God conscious, then
Well,
we
would he
vote.
have to be a Krishna movement to be God conscious?
would the candidate, in order for the candidate to be God conscious, would he have to be part of the Hare Krishna movement?
And he must know the science.
He must know
This-
the science.
Science,
God.
the spiritual
To be
science.
God science, to be God conscious, you must
That's a great
know.
science.
Huh?
That's a great science.
Great science.
How's that?
In order to understand God, it is a great science.
Well, do you need to be involved in the Krishna movement to be God conscious?
No, he may take part in the movement or not, but he must know the science.
You mean the
Movement is preaching.
Bhagavad Gita? You must know that, or what?
Not Bhagavad Gita or anything, but he was just like a book, mathematics. It may be written by different men, but one must be a mathematician.
Well, I think what Boli was saying, that is, if a Krishna consciousness member were running for an office, then you would get out and vote for him, that he would
Yes.
be God conscious.
Yes.
What I'm trying to ask, does he have to be Krishna conscious involvement in order to be God conscious?
And everyone should be Krishna conscious.
Huh?
Everyone should be Krishna conscious. Not only the president or not president. Everyone. That is the objective of human life. He must know himself, what he is.
Now that leads up to another question I wanted to ask you. Do you think that one of the attractions of Krishna consciousness is the rather exotic, Hindu, unusual customs in the West? I mean, these customs are unusual in the West. Then they have a sort of exotic
That
appeal
ignorance,
or fascination for young
that
people.
ignorance is there both in Western and Eastern. It is the ignorance of the human society.
Well, do you think it's the fact that it's an mysterious Eastern religion has an appeal to American
Why
young
do you
people?
bring Eastern religion, Western religion? It is a science. 2 + 2 is equally important, both in East and the West.
Well, it originated in the East, and it hasn't been customary in the West.
And originated just like the sun rises in India first. That does not mean the sun in America and sun in India is different. The sun is the same sun. It may appear first in the eastern side, but that sun does not belong either to the east or the west. Sun is sun.
Well, do you think that the Eastern sun, meaning Hare Krishna, is appropriate in a culture that has a different religion tradition?
No, it is ignorance. When
You know,
say,
the Jewish biblical Christian tradition is traditional in the West. The Hindu tradition
I never say that Jews are Christian or Hindu or Muslim.
We're not Hindus.
We do not belong either to the Hindus or Christian or Jewish. We belong to Krishna or God. Krishna means God.
Yeah, but you use the Hindu scriptures.
That is another thing. Just like we say the sun, Surya, and you say the sun, but the subject matter is the same. You say the sun in the sky as S-U-N, sun, and we say in India Surya, S-U-R-Y-A. So the name may be different, but the object is the same.
In other words, do you think the India-originated religion serves this particular purpose in the Western society? I mean, is it of particular value in a rather technological society, the Hindu tradition?
And generally speaking, everywhere is identifying his body as the self. It does not mean East or West. This is ignorance. It may be in the East or in the West. It doesn't matter.
Well, can a self exist without a body?
No.
Huh? I mean, can a
self can exist
I mean,
without
you say
body.
that that people identify themselves, the body, as the self.
Yeah.
And that's ignorance to identify the self with the body.
That I've already explained. That the driver...
But does that mean a sort of a rejection of the body as unimportant?
Not rejection.
But the body is important to the self, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right to understand. That we have already explained. The driver and the car are two different identities.
Oh.
Is it not?
Yeah. But
the driver can exist without the car, and the car without the driver has no value.
Well, in that same, in keeping with that analogy, can the self exist without? Does the self exist without the body in this world?
Oh, yes.
In this life?
Yes. Life is always there.
As a spirit, apart from the body.
Yeah. That is the ideal life.
That's the goal.
That is the goal. When the soul lives without this material body, that is his liberated life.
Liberated.
Just like the criminal, he can live within the jail and without the jail.
Yeah.
But he is thinking wrongly that without jail he cannot live. But his life without jail is real life.
That reflects the old the Hindu view that.
Why again being Hindu view?
Or at least the Eastern religious view that to leave this lot. Pardon me. To leave this.
Why we are bringing Hindu and Muslim view?
Well, I take that back. I take that back. Anyway, what you're saying is that this life is a jail, and that really the goal is another life. Right?
Yes.
Yes. I mean that this life is an evil prison.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yeah. Now you have understood.
Well,
this is not a desirable life. To live in the jail condition.
Well, in other words, in a sense that is to reject or at least to repudiate this life, this world.
Not repudiate, to understand
that it is not a good life.
It is not a good life, and the world, material world, is false identification with myself.
Well, is it important to try to improve this life so it won't be a prison?
Improve.
Huh?
Improve, to understand that I am not a person of the jail. I am a person of freedom. Long living in the jail, one will identify that without jail I cannot live.
Well, I hope we all get out of it somehow, some way, either here or there.
But we are trying to educate the prisoners that your life is not perfect within the jail. Your life is perfect without the jail. This is our education.
Life is not perfect in the jail.
Yeah. And the person in the jail, they are thinking, what is this? They are not working for the jail life.
Persons in the jail, I didn't get that.
Because they cannot understand that there is life after jail. They're so fool, rascal.
Yeah.
That they cannot understand that without jail one can live.
So what you were saying before, the persons in the jail are thinking these people are not working for life in the jail. So they don't understand what we are doing.
How's that now?
We're not working to keep people in the jail conception of life. So that's why they cannot understand what we're doing.
You know what I mean? You're not working for the jail life?
To keep people within the conception that life is within the
Just
jail.
like a man has gone to jail, he is giving education to the prisoners. My dear brother prisoners, this life is not good. You become honest. Don't come to the jail. So other prisoners, they are working hard. They are hammering on the bricks. They think that this man is doing not hammering on the bricks, he is talking on it.
I didn't get it.
That's in the prison. The people who have their work is say to hammer on bricks.
Yeah.
So if someone comes into the jail and tells the prisoners, you shouldn't be doing this. Actually, you should become honest and go out of the jail and be free.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the person's in the jail, because they will then may become envious that this person, instead of working hard like us, he's simply talking. They cannot understand the benefit that he's giving them. And they become envious that because he's not working like us, he's nonsense. Do you understand the analogy? It's an analogy. Just like we're coming in the world and telling people to get out of this world, to understand the spiritual world, spiritual side of life. But because we're not working like them, sometimes they misunderstand what is our purpose.
In other words, you think people should get away from what they're doing in the world.
Yeah. That is real life.
Huh?
Oh.
And that they really shouldn't concentrate so completely on the world.
So long you are in the jail, you
Yeah.
have to work according to the principle of the jail.
Yeah.
But you must know that jail life is not good.
You may work within the material world, but you have to understand that the purpose is to get out of the material world.
Well, are your Krishna members out of jail?
But some of us are working like the hammer man, brick hammer.
Yeah.
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 But that does not mean he does not understand.
Yeah. But
So long one is in the jail,
it's
he
all
is
along
not in freedom. He has to work like that, by force. But that is not his proper work. He has got a different work outside the jail, or in his freedom life.
Well, what people are saying about the members of the Krishna Society is that they are not doing the jail work.
That I have already explained.
Yeah.
The prisoner who is hammering the bricks,
Yeah.
he is thinking that this man is simply instructing that you have a different life outside the jail. He is not hammering on the brick.
Yeah.
That's what he is surprised. How is that he is not hammering like me?
It is required.
In other words, he's not participating in jail life.
Yeah.
He's educating them.
What's he doing?
He's educating,
He's trying to show them a different way.
not different way. He is educating differently.
They can understand what they're doing, what they're supposed to be doing.
He's educating them to what? That this jail life is no good?
Yes.
That the jail life is no good?
Yes.
But then is that man that's hammering the bricks, is then he going to quit hammering the bricks too?
Yes. He may not hammer, he is giving instruction. Just like I was invited in Ahmedabad jail to give some instruction.
Yeah.
So I am not hammering on the bricks
Yeah.
because I was in the jail.
Yeah. You're giving instruction.
Yes. I am meant for giving instruction.
Yeah.
I am not meant for hammering on the bricks.
Well, then once you get this...
So the person who is hammering on the bricks, he is thinking that this man is simply talking.
Yeah. That's why he thinks that the
He
Christian
wants
people are
to
separate. Yeah.
draw him in the business of hammering the bricks.
Right. Right. Good.
That is the difference.
That's the difference. Well, what I'm talking about is when
that he is thinking that he is not contributing in hammering the bricks.
when you're
But he
deciding,
does not know this hammering on the bricks is not a very good business.
not a very good business.
He does not know, the rascal, who is trying to bring us also in the business of
hammering the bricks. Right. Yeah.
That is the difference.
Yeah. Well, when you get through with the guy instructing the man hammering the bricks, is he going to lay down his hammer too?
No, he doesn't require the same. You try to understand.
He may continue hammering, but his knowledge will be complete. He'll have complete
At
understanding.
least he must know that this hammering is my punishment. He knows that this hammering is not my business, it is my punishment. That is knowledge. That is knowledge. When a prisoner understands that this hammering business is not my real business, it is my punishment.
Isn't that a rather negative way to look at life's
Why negative?
work?
It is a fact. That is a positive understanding. Why do you take negative? If you are suffering, and if I say don't suffer, that is the negative or that is positive?
In other words, he said, if you're suffering and I tell you don't suffer, it may sound negative, but actually it's positive.
Yes, it's positive. But they are rascals that
Why
taking
is
it.
Why is work in the world necessarily suffering? It is. It has
Yes,
this
suffering.
mixture of pain and joy, but it's negative to look on
Therefore,
it as
they are
useless
envious.
work, huh?
They are therefore envious of the Krishna conscious man. They do not see that these people, they are not hammering like us.
Uh-huh.
So therefore they are thinking that there is no contribution of hammering.
Yeah.
They think the hammering is the real business.
That's pretty good. I think the world. I think people understand the analogy there. That they think of hammering is a business. What do you think is business? The world thinks hammering is real business.
Yeah, so our business is to educate them that your hammering business is not your life. Your freedom is real business.
Freedom is what?
Real business.
Yeah. You've heard. I'm sure you've heard or read about these claims by these parent groups that claim that the Hare Krishna movement members are sort of controlled by intensive indoctrination, brainwash they call it, by getting up and having the 2 hours or 3 of chanting in the morning and the prayer beads constantly and the group life, that they're sort of controlled and denied their freedom. What do you say about that?
It is due to misunderstanding. They do not understand what kind of preaching, what kind of education we are giving. We are giving education how to become free from the hammering business in the jail. They think hammering business and keep oneself within the jail is the real life, because they have been accustomed to that. And when we speak that hammering or to keep within the jail is not your real business, your real business is freedom. Naturally they find contradiction and they think that we are doing something against their business. That is the difficulty.
Think doing something against what?
Their business.
Yeah. But in other words, you think is there not something to this idea of being spiritually controlled or spiritually
it is not control.
Directed?
It is not control.
Well, what would you call it?
Controlling one from coming to the jail life. If you give good instruction to a man that don't become criminal, don't come to the jail, Don't be engaged in the hammering business. It appears negative, but that is positive life.
If you tell somebody not to do something that's bad for him, it's positive for him.
That is his positive life. When the physician says to a patient that don't eat like this, then you will increase your diabetes. Don't eat this, don't eat starch, don't eat sugar. So, people may think he is simply giving negative, but that is his positive life. They misunderstand.
I guess when you started out down here in Greenwich Village in 1965, you didn't have any idea that your movement was going to become the rather large movement it is, did you?
Yes, because my movement is real movement, positive. Any intelligent man will understand and take it.
Yeah. Where is your main home?
My home is back to home, back to Godhead.
Is where?
Back to Godhead.
With God.
That is my real home. That means every temple is my home.
Did you work out the spiritual disciplines for the group yourself? I mean, about the morning chanting and the recital of the 2,000 Hare Krishnas a day. And did you work those out yourself?
Still I am working.
Still working on those principles, on those disciplines.
Yeah. You see, I have got this bag, they have got that.
He's saying, did you think of these things yourself?
Did you
To chant on the beads and to follow the program in the morning? Have you made these up yourself?
No. This is the disciplic process.
of who
Disciplic process.
yeah, who originated those
It is
steps?
It is since time immemorial.
Time immemorial.
Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, you'll find Satatang Kirtantang Maham Jatantasta Virabhu. Find out this.
Well, I understand you do a lot of work now translating, and that you only sleep 2 hours a day. Is that
Not
right?
2 hours, I sleep about 4 hours.
4 hours? 4 hours. 4 hours.
Satatang Kirtantang Maham.
Satatan kirtayanto mam yutantascha dudavataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta pasyate. Always chanting my glories, endeavouring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
So this was spoken 5,000 years ago, and we are doing the same thing.
Well, what's your
Now your answer is there.
Yeah,
It is not that I invented something.
Yeah, you didn't invent it. I get the point that it derived from the Vedic scripture. Yeah.
Whatever you are doing,
What-
that is authorized, that is the principle for spiritual understanding.
What I was trying to ask you a while ago, do you think that these particularly Vedic disciplines and spiritual principles and,
Whole
and
Vedic
concentration on the spirit instead of the body has a particular usefulness in Western society nowadays? Is it?
It is useful for every human being. If the Western society thinks that they are not human beings, that is another thing.
This is the business of human life.
What's your view of Judaism and Christianity?
I have not studied very much. But anyism, it is meant for making the soul free from this bodily condition. That is first classism. Otherwise it is simply waste of time.
Any religion
That gives facility.
emphasize making us free from the bodily condition.
Yeah,
That's a first-class religion.
that's it.
I don't think Judaism and Christianity do that.
I do not know that.
They consider the body very important.
Again you come to the same. Body is important so long the soul is there. The car is important
But
so
they
long
don't-
it is moving.
They cherish the physical, the world itself. And they,
That is not.
That is ignorance. That is ignorance.
that is ignorant.
We have got students from every community, from Jewish community, from Christian community, from Mohammedan community, from Buddhist community, from Hindu community, everywhere. Because the knowledge is for everyone. It doesn't matter whether he is Jewish, Christian or 2 plus 2 equal to 4 is good for everyone. It is not that 2 plus 2 is good for the Christian, not for the Jews. Gold is gold.
I didn't get that.
The principle of, say, 2 plus 2 equals 4
Yeah.
is the same for a person, whether he's Christian, Jewish, Mohammedan, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just as the same way that gold is gold. Gold always has its value in any situation.
You cannot say because gold is in the hand of a Mohammedan, it is Mohammedan gold. Or if it is in the hand of Christian, it is Christian gold. Gold is gold
Right.
in anyone's hand. You cannot designate it.
Who's got the gold?
Huh?
Who
Everyone
has
has
the
got
gold?
the gold.
Who has the gold?
No. Everyone has got the gold. But they are not in awareness that what is that gold.
Pardon me.
Everyone has the gold.
Yeah.
They're simply unaware that they have it. Everyone is originally Krishna conscious or God conscious. What Prabhupada is doing is making people aware of it, that it's within them, within their heart.
Well, are there other paths to awareness of spirit consciousness other than the Krishna consciousness path?
But how can I say that is your subject matter? You study both of them and see and give your judgment.
I mean, what is your view?
Huh?
What is your view? Are there other paths to spirit consciousness?
There is,
Than the,
but not
Krishna?
very elaborate.
There are, but not very what?
Elaborate.
Not very
scientific.
Not very good.
Not very elaborate.
Not-
Elaborate.
Well, is Krishna consciousness very elaborate?
Yes. You see, we
By
are
elaborate, you mean effective. Is
Scientific.
all these
you mean
books.
effective by elaborate?
effective also.
I mean, is that the proper synonym for elaborate?
Yes.
These are some of our books that Prabhupada has published just to
We are
explain
explaining
this
this science in so many books.
science. Oh,
It is open to everyone.
It's quite a library.
This is just the beginning. And there's another 40 volumes after this.
Are all of these translations that you've made, Your Grace? I don't blame you for sleeping only 4 hours a night. I tell you, just to produce a half a dozen books in a lifetime is quite a job,
It is very difficult.
Yeah.
But I have already produced 80 books.
80? 80?
80 books.
80?
80. 80.
Translations of the
Yes.
Vedic scripture.
Yes.
And commentary.
The
Translations and commentary.
And all world scholars, professors, universities, they are receiving so nice.
Yeah, we have standing orders for all of Prabhupada's books that he has now in the future all over the world, in all the leading universities. And the professors are using them as texts.
Yes.
We have hundreds of letters.
Well, you know what I've
Now,
heard.
you can see some of the list.
What I've heard some Hindu professors say is that Hinduism is such a complex and profound religion, and that the Krishna consciousness members are very superficial about it. They simply go through these disciplines and really don't involve themselves in the. They take a superficial version of Hinduism. Huh?
That may be Hindu religion, but we do not belong to any religion. That may be true for the Hindu religion, what the professor has said, but we do not identify with any religion. We are different from any religious system.
But the scriptures are the same. The Vedic scriptures are Hindu scriptures.
No, Hindu religion, of course the scripture is a Vedic principle, but the word is not Vedic.
No.
This word Hindu is not Vedic word.
Hindu is not
Well, it's a
found in
popular
Sanskrit. It's just a popular, general.
I guess.
Veda, that is real, the word. But they have taken it in a different way. Actually, the Hindu, this name is given by the never Mohammedans. There is a river called Sindhu. That river is still there. It is now in Pakistan. So, outside the border of India, the Mohammedans, they used to call the inhabitants of the neighborhood of that river Sindhu, Hindu, because they pronounce S as H. So this is the origin. So Hindu is a title given by the Mohammedan never. It is not found in the Vedic literature.
I see. That's like most religious names derive quite often out of ridicule or scorn. Like the Quakers, that was originally a scornful title of scorn, and the Methodists, they were the methodical ones, that was a title of scorn, and the Baptists were the
real Vedic principle is called Varnashram, observing the principle of 4 varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya. It is a very long science. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This is called Varna. And Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. This is called Ashram. So, the Vedic civilization is called Varnashram Dharma, not Hindu Dharma. This is later contribution of the so-called scholars.
Well, I thank you very much for your time, Your Grace, and I'm glad I finally got acquainted with you. I missed you in Brooklyn.
Huh?
I missed you in Brooklyn. I came over there and you were in the backyard. I think you were asleep or having a back rub or something, so I didn't get to see you.
Yes, in
But
the daytime.
good to catch you this time, and I hope to see you again.
So kindly put the matter properly, because people misunderstand on account of their ignorance. They misunderstand our movement.
What are their main misunderstandings?
Of this bodily concept, they are thinking that they are body. I am Mohammedan, I am Christian, I am American, I am Eastern, I am Western, all bodily concepts.
You mean about the Eastern, Western?
Eastern, Western, that is also bodily concept.
But
why they are thinking Eastern, Western? Everyone is human being.
Well, what is it that they particularly misunderstand about the movement?
They do not understand that we are talking on the spiritual platform, and they are on the material, bodily platform. Therefore, they find contradiction. One has to be little sober to understand this movement. Then what platform we are speaking? They are accustomed, on the same example, hammering the bricks. And when they see others, they are not hammering the bricks, they think they are different. They cannot understand that life can be without hammering the bricks. Convince. In the Bhagavad Gita, the word mura, that has been explained by Vishwanath Chakrabarti, Kormis, these muras. They cannot understand.
I'm going to have to go back and hammer a few bricks. Been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your good time. I hope to see you again sometime.
Yeah.
Good day.